Welcome to Inferior Gaming, where we are used to failure and the boss fight takes at least 5 tries. I'm Alan.
I'm Caitlin.
Yeah.
I
How you
think
doing, Caitlin?
because when I do the intro, I usually say what we're going to be talking about. So I wasn't sure if I should say it or if you should say it.
Nope, I had the same thing. We were trying something different. So what have you been playing?
The only new thing from last week is because you reminded me that Blueprints was on Game Pass, I decided to give that a go. And on Friday night, I literally posted on Blue Sky, tonight I'm going to roll credits on Blueprints or die trying. And at midnight, I posted a picture of Room 46 with I get to live.
Oh, good.
So...
Yeah, because I played it too. So Room 46 really is the end of the story. Like, is it? Do you feel like you got the ending?
So getting to Room 46 and finishing the story are two completely different things.
Okay.
Like when you're going through, like trying to solve to get to Room 46 and trying to solve all the puzzles to get all the lore, two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes...
Do you feel... But it's like the end of the game,
the lore
right?
puzzles give you buffs.
Right.
I'm going to say no, because
okay.
I don't... Other than 2 of them, you cannot get any of the achievements until after you roll credits.
Okay.
They, unlock afterwards.
Interesting.
And you have to load back in to get your... you got to Room 46 trophy. You don't just get it at the end of the credits. You have to load back in.
Okay. So, yeah, we've both been playing this game. Do you want to explain, what it is at all? Do we want to talk about it a little bit, or...?
I mean, I think every video game podcast that existed before us has done it, but sure. It's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle roguelike, and I despise roguelikes, and this will probably be the only one I ever play.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, they're just... I hate the design of learn by failing.
Right, yeah.
For me, it's just... Which is hilarious because I don't mind doing a fight, 10 times to learn. But starting over from the beginning again...
That's what bothers me, about roguelikes is the lack of progress. It feels like you just lose everything every time, and it's like...
And I know people who like roguelikes are probably thinking that is the progress, the learning, right. and I get it. But for me, it's just frustrating. What really kept me in this one is that the lore and the story is very interesting and hidden throughout in a very fun way.
Yeah, because you're piecing together what happened in this house with this family in this town, kind of over all of the different rooms and the tiny clues everywhere.
And you find things out in a really obviously non-linear, but also just random way. I loaded in a room last night at some point where I was like, I have no idea if this is going to be helpful, but I've never been in this room before, and it seemed to me like a pretty useless room. But I went in and there was this family tree on the wall, and I was like, oh, that's why we care about this person. That makes so much sense.
I had a thing last night that was kind of similar where I was like, I've always noticed this element to each of the rooms, and then I got into this new room and I was like, this room seems kind of dumb. It's not going to help me get to the antechamber, which I've never been to. You've beaten the game way before I ever will, if I ever do.
Yeah, well, you have a life and I don't. So,
but I got into this room and it explained an element of why are there always pictures on the wall? What do they signify? Do they matter? And this explained there's a whole nother code breaking layer to how the grid is laid out, and that there are messages that are being transmitted to you as the player if you want to decode them. And I was like, oh my God. So there's just layers and layers and layers.
If you want some insight into the thoughts of the developer, I highly recommend the episode where the besties, which is the McElroy / kind of Polygon, although Polygon doesn't really exist
Oh,
anymore.
right. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Podcast, a video game podcast, and one of them got to interview the developer, the writer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he had a team, but it was like one guy who came up with the idea and wrote most of it, I think. And he did. It's not the whole interview, but he just mentioned something about these weird details that he noticed in his real life room and how it was kind of like a puzzle, and how he was like, "Oh, this is just who you are."
There's a game that my kids play that has a somewhat similar. It's not a puzzle game at all, but it's like I think it's called unpacking.
Oh yeah, I love unpacking. That's a great game.
Right, where you put away your stuff. But if you kind of pay attention, there's like a linear
Oh, yeah.
progression to the person's life, and you can like
It is
yeah.
a genius game because there's no dialogue.
Right.
There's like a couple of written lines.
There's not even a
throughout.
person, right? Like it's just
Really, yeah.
it's just stuff.
But you get invested in this girl's life.
Yeah.
And I literally cried at the end.
Yeah. They both had a real emotional catharsis with the game too, and I was like, that's fascinating.
And you get angry at one of them, and
yeah.
And then, like, after that, she moves back in with her parents, you know, into her childhood bedroom again. You're like, oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
And all these, and it's so good. It's so well done. Anyways, but back to Blueprints. We never really talked about it at all.
Yeah.
Or about what it is. So you're in a 45-room house, or you've inherited a 45-room house from your great uncle. But in order to, like, get it, you have to get to the 46th room. And it's on you play on a grid. It's 5x9, and you go through doorways and draw rooms.
Almost like cards.
Yeah, you draw
like you have a deck.
like 3 rooms
Right.
as though it's like 3 cards, and you have to choose one to go into next, all while trying to get to the antechamber at the top of the grid.
This very easily seems like it could be a board game almost. I mean, there's lots of stuff where that wouldn't work, but
Yeah.
I could see a board game version of it very easily being made. But yeah.
Yeah, so it on its surface, it's this very simple puzzle game, but as you go through, like we said, it just goes so deep and it is much bigger than it seems at the start.
Yeah.
And you sort of slowly uncover this story of political unrest, let's say, which at the beginning, like, you would not think at all.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I love puzzle games. I'm not good at them like everything else.
Yeah.
But this one, and what I like about them, like there's no combat or anything, and they're really about learning and like information. And like usually with modern puzzle games, the whole thing is like very sideways. Like you're presented, you know, like with this 3-card system of building out rooms, and the goal that you're being told is to get to this room. But I was like, okay, so that's clearly covering up other gameplay elements that are, especially with a roguelike thing, there's always something to roguelikes where you can build elements that are permanent to your character, and then you can always like kind of get stronger with those permanent elements, and I've kind of found some stuff like that in the game so far. So it's gratifying that like by having had experience with other puzzlers, I'm like, okay, I can kind of see how this fits together with the genre.
Yeah, it is a nice blend of the 2 genres, I will say that.
Yeah, it's fun. That's good. So you beat it in a week, so it's not like it's
it
not
took
crazy.
me 39 in-game days.
Okay. I think I'm on day 14 or something.
Yeah.
You can beat it in a day, you told me though. Not you, but like it can
I
be
didn't.
done.
I watched somebody on YouTube do it because I just wanted to do it. Like, I watched after I rolled credits. I did not spoil myself. One thing I will say is I despise puzzles where Like, I wish the game had a hint system.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. You know? And I just want to be, I don't want it to be solved for me, but I would love a point in the right direction.
It very much is
And,
like the clues are in a completely different spot.
oh yeah, I one time forced open a safe, by which I mean I solved 2 of the numbers, and then I just went through all
Right.
the
You
other
hard.
numbers to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then in game days later, I got to another room and I was like, oh, yeah, here's the answer. I see how it is that number. Thankfully, like, the other number wasn't too high, so I wasn't there for like an hour. When I entered that other room, I was like, this would have been nice to have seen one other fucking time, you know? Like, what? This seems, I guess it's a rare room, but it seems like it shouldn't be. I don't know.
Yeah, it very much does the thing. There, what I think is the strong emotional experience of puzzle games is that you're doing it, and then there's like a moment where you're like, wait a minute, this changes everything that I've understood so far. And like, if I go back and try this, oh my God, it does work. Everywhere you just didn't notice some kind of mechanic or some
Yeah.
kind of information before, or you couldn't, like, if you had the information, you could have done the thing earlier. And this game does a good job of kind of giving you microdoses of that constantly, of like, you're in a room and you're like, oh, I know what this is for. And you like write it down. And then the next time you get to that other room, you're like, yes, I have the code, or I have this, or whatever.
It's funny because I think it has that in common. This is going to sound stupid until I explain. With Expedition 33.
Mm-hmm.
Because Expedition 33, when you first start it, is so frustrating because the timing for the parries is so small, and was very frustrated at first. But then when you get it, it feels so good.
Yeah. And if
Like when
you,
you get your first return on parry, like when you hit them after the parry and you get all the hits, that feels so good. And every time when you finally learn a new Nephron's pattern or whatever and you get it, I like, eventually I would skip my own turns because I wanted to practice parrying.
right. Yeah. You just want to have that dodging
Yeah.
or a parrying thing. Yeah.
And it was, and it's the same thing with the puzzles. When you get them, it's like, ooh, hoo, hoo. I don't know how to describe it. You just like, I am smart. And then, of course, you get to some of the other puzzles and you have the other feel.
Yeah. Then you're like, oh no, I just need a hint. Give me a little hint.
And so the logic puzzles in the parlor, I think it is.
Yeah.
With the gems, those ones, and the math puzzles on the dartboard get harder as you go on.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember the first time I was in the parlor, which I think was like day 1, and I, read the note, blah, 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 got the logic puzzle, and then I was like, oh, this is easy. And I like doubted that I'd gotten the right box because it was so easy. But no, I got the right box. And then for so long, I would just like read them, yep, this one, good. Read them, yep, this one, good. And then suddenly I was like, wait, I don't... And now I have to read them and then be like, so if this one's lying and this one's telling the truth, and then this one, and this one, and this one, this one. And now it's like 50-50 if I get it or not.
I haven't missed
like,
one of those yet.
I'm dumb.
Well, no, I don't know about that. Like I said, I've done way fewer days than you, and I don't always do a parlor room. So I know they get harder the more you do them.
They get harder.
But I did find a clue that was like, it's not always in the one that tells the truth. But it's never in the one that tells the lie. And so I was like, oh, okay. That actually helped me a lot to be like, well, this one's clearly the truth one, but it doesn't line up with what the truth one is saying. So then is it the truth? And then that made me more comfortable picking the one that I felt like is the right one to pick, if that makes sense.
I guess with that puzzle in particular, what it is that I'm impatient. And because with the earlier ones, I barely had to try. Now that I have to be like, wait, think. I'm just like, no, this is just a room where you go, you get gems, and you move on. After rolling credits, I have consistently had, if not gotten to the antechamber, whether or not I've opened the like sliding doors, I've gotten like up to rank 9.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, except for once I dead ended myself and was like, oh, great, Galen, great. What a waste of time. So I do think it does get easier, but also after rolling credits, there's new rooms. There's a lot of new rooms.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That you haven't seen before.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's cool though. Like it's like you've learned, okay, you've taken 101 and now if you want to keep doing this, let's get more sophisticated. Yeah.
Because it's so hard for me because a lot of the time once I finish a game, I'm just like, oh, done, next game. But I do want to get the rest of the story. I have not gotten all of the story.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one puzzle in particular that I want to solve, and like to solve it though, you have to draw certain rooms in a day, and it's bugging the fuck out of me that I can't do it. One of the rooms in particular just never comes up. Like, I've seen it twice in my over 40 days at this point. And I need that room. And I know it exists.
Yeah, so cool. We like blueprints.
We like blueprints. We just talked about it for like 20 minutes.
That's good.
Yeah. But that's the only thing. Oh, I played a little bit of Final Fantasy VI yesterday because I needed a break from puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
But as in Final Fantasy VII, I guess, I've gotten overly attached to Terra, and she's just never in my party, and I hate it. So at the moment, I'm just like, all right, I'll go play some Final Fantasy VI, and I play 20 minutes, and I'm like, ugh.
I think you're
men.
You're close. Yeah, there's a lot of men. You're close to a point at which you like, not only do you get Terra, but you get like the Terra dump, like the big, like,
oh, great.
Yeah.
I'm excited then.
Yeah.
I did the Opera House yesterday.
Oh, great. Yeah. The Opera House is great. That's why I
it
was
was fun.
asking you if you had fought Ultros, the octopus.
Oh, I see. Yes,
and you were
yes,
like,
yes,
who?
yes.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure you fought him. But the fact that you didn't remember, I was like, okay, you haven't done the Opera House.
Yeah, no, I did the Opera, and when I got to him, I one-shotted him, and I was
Of course,
like,
yeah, he's not hard. He's just a goof.
He presents himself as like this big boss fight.
That's what's
and
great.
then I just hit him with Gao, who is way overpowered, because I took the time to go back to, where you get his
the
powers.
belt.
Yeah, whatever it is, the belt. Yeah. So Gao just has a lot going on, and I one-shotted him with Gao, and I was like, well, that was a fun boss fight.
Yeah. He's supposed to be a joke. He's a joke character. He's beloved.
Great. Good to know.
Yeah, in the fandom.
Okay. I did like that he sent us a letter and we all ignored it.
Yes, it's really
that
good.
was great. We all just walked away.
He's like, no, I'm your villain. I'm your bad guy. And you're just like, we don't care.
Yeah. So then we got on the ship, but then I just saved and went to play Blueprints some more.
Cool. Yep. Since we talked, I've aged a year. And so for my birthday, my wife got me Lost Souls Arise. That might not be, might be Lost Soul Arise. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Yes, you told me about this. Yes.
Yeah, it's like a guy saw the Final Fantasy 15 trailer a long time ago before that game came out. I think about like 25 or 30 years ago. And that's not true. But he was like, I want to make a game like that. And he had no experience and just kind of like made a game for, I think it took him like 9 years. And it's a little AA action game. It's very stylish. It's okay. Like, it's not mechanically great. It looks really good. But I really like it's funny. It's a really funny game. You get this dragon very early on who, like, he's enormous. He's so huge. And like, you stand in the palm of his hand and you could have like a living room in the palm of his hand. And he's like, you're the chosen one and I will bond with you and like all this stuff. It's very dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like shrinks down to be this tiny thing that only you can see and hear, and he like kind of orbits your head all the time. And then he just has like endless salty commentary about everyone around you that's like really fucking funny to me. So I really like that character.
That's fun.
You meet somebody and he's like, this guy's an asshole. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if you've ever watched any of the Venom movies that came out recently, but it's a lot like that.
I have not.
It's very funny.
Okay.
It seems like it's intentionally funny. The hero is very like moody anime badass guy, and he's not badass at all. And the dragon's like, you're not badass at all. Like, you really suck. I don't know. I really love if the game just keeps doing this, I really don't care mechanically or story wise what's happening. I just want this dragon to make fun of everything. Like it's pretty good.
Amazing. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I liked the look of it when you said you aged a year. I'd completely forgotten that it had been your birthday, and so I was like, geez, what happened this week?
Yeah, it was
like,
a
did
hard
you have
week.
The worst week ever?
Yeah.
And then you reminded me about the game, and I was like, right, your birthday.
Yeah.
God. Anyways, no, but you sent it to me earlier, and it did kind of look like a cheap Final Fantasy, and I don't mean that as a criticism.
Yeah, I would say it looks better than the trailers, like when you're actually playing it. It's just mechanically very simple. Like if you played any, which I actually appreciate a lot, because like I'm bad at games anyway, but like a Ninja Gaiden game or something like that, Sekiro, where it's like very fast action and you have to have like a very tiny parry window and hit that thing consistently, and then you get your hit back. This game's not like that. The parry window is enormous, and like, so I don't know. It's like action game for dummies, which is great for me. Like I can parry everybody. I can kill everyone. I never lose any health. I get cool upgrades. My character is like walking around in a weird set of armor while everybody else is wearing like modern clothes. So I don't know. I just like the silliness of it, and that it's mechanically not challenging to me. So that's great. It's a very nice way to like just sit down and like to instantly be good at the game is cathartic.
That does feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially after, I feel like the summer of Expedition 33 and Blueprints.
It's so
where
hard.
You're just like, oh, I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so hard.
Like I went back to Expedition 33 recently. Oh, I think I talked about this last week, but man, I've lost it, you know? I do not have that parry timing down anymore after taking like a month break.
It's rough. Yeah, so this time around, I thought that I wanted to talk a little bit about like art in a very broad sense and how it relates to video games. And I know that there's like a lot of discourse around that's actually a little bit exhausting at this point around, is art video games? Are video games art?
I think that discourse comes from outside the video gaming community.
I agree.
Because like if you asked my mom, she would say no.
Right.
But I could play her some of the music and she would be like, oh, this is nice.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of art that goes into games. But I feel like people, especially like you say, of generation older than us, see it as too frivolous to be a real art form. Right.
I don't want to necessarily say the older, because people older than us, they play video games. They're not, maybe less statistically speaking, but they do. It's just, you know, and there are people my age who don't understand video games also. Like I've got cousins, you know. It's just people who never got into them don't understand what they are, which is fair. I don't understand anything about sports.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like I'm like probably the only person in Canada who does not understand the rules of hockey. You know?
Yeah.
So we've all got our thing.
I think that's definitely right, that it's a hobby, and that it requires all kinds of knowledge to get into. And part of that, I think, is the weird genres that we've created as a hobby, like as a hobby community, that are like really daunting and actually like alienating, I think, to people outside of the hobby. They're like, if you start talking about it, just sounds like alphabet soup, right? Like, oh, I played an FS or an FPS MMO, or, like an RPG, a
That's
JRPG.
like my nightmare game, an FPS MMO.
Yeah. Like,
The
no,
two
thank
things I
you.
like the least.
I actually don't want to play Fortnite at all. Thank you. No, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just weird. Weird genres, I think, are kind of alienating to non-gamer people. And there's also like a huge barrier to entry just in terms of like an agility. Because you can just sit down and watch a movie, but like you have to learn how to use a controller without thinking about the controller. Like your actions need to be somewhat automatic, or keyboard and mouse setup, or whatever controller layout you're using. And that takes work, whether it's, with one game or another. And so that is a real barrier to entry for people, I think, too.
That is interesting. I don't know anybody who is an adult who has never played video games and wants to get into them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how you would bring that about for someone, like how you would teach them.
Yeah, I think my wife tried when we were like early in our relationship, had first gotten married, tried to like join my gaming hobby. And I was very much like, you don't need to do this for me. Like, I don't need that. We don't like, it's fine, because
Yeah.
I do know that it's hard and frustrating, and like maybe the things that I'm into she won't care about, and so like whatever. But she probably plays more video games than me, honestly. But it's just that the video games that she plays are on her iPad or her phone, which require only touching a screen.
Yeah.
So the interface is a very low level. And I don't think that she would think of herself at all as a gamer. You know what I mean? And not
Right.
like
What type of games does she play?
they're like like she goes in every day to like harvest all the stuff from her farm
Right.
and plant new stuff in the farm. And
Gotcha.
or she's got like another one where she's like a pirate ship captain, and she's got well, really she's like a Coramore, because she's got a fleet of ships at this point, right? And she's got to like
Okay.
give orders to everybody, and now we're surrounding this island and blah 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 blah.
I feel the need to say that I wasn't, if it was like Bejeweled, I wasn't going to judge. I was just curious.
Yeah,
Because Bejeweled is a video game.
but she's definitely
like
played match 3 type stuff.
Yeah. If I got my start playing educational video games in a computer lab at school, then Bejeweled is a video game.
Yeah.
I know some people will disagree. I very specifically do not play mobile games because I get addicted,
Me too. Yeah.
and I would spend the stupid amounts of money that I don't. So I just don't let myself go there.
Yep. And she does buy like, upgrade packs and stuff like that every once in a while. But it's like, hey, like I'll sit here and buy a $45 game or whatever, and play it for 6 or 7 months, and I don't really see a difference in that between her buying a $2.
Yeah, if you have
pack every once in a
self-control.
while.
I would
Right, yeah.
I would personally not have self-control,
Yeah.
so it's better. I would financially ruin myself. So I just don't let myself do it.
I'm the same way. I have games on my phone, and all of them are like, it's like Chrono Trigger, Final Fantasy 1, they're like, this is a whole game and I already have played it before, and it's just a thing to do.
I don't even have that. If I'm ever in a situation where I'm sitting down with my phone, like on public transit or something, I can listen to music or a book. I don't game at all on my phone.
Yep. It's probably for the best. I'll give you my definition of what art is, because I actually think this is really controversial. Like, it turns off people whenever I talk about it. And so we might not agree on this. I don't think I've ever brought it up with you, although I feel like we've skirted around this whole thing. But I have an extremely broad definition of what art is. And I think it's just any act of self-expression by a human being is art. And so we are just doing low level art constantly, I think, as people. And it doesn't need to necessarily be self-conscious, but I think like the more self-conscious and deliberate it is, like the more sophisticated, that becomes more recognizable as art. But I think there,
Hmm.
even in the very, very small ways of like somebody sits down to eat a meal and maybe they take their fork or whatever and they twirl it before they start eating, to me, that's a little expression of art. That's a little like, I'm going to eat this food art that counts to me as art. And so a wide variety of things to me count as art that have nothing to do with money or entertainment necessarily, but include things like playing sports. And I think that's art. That's human art. Or like even solo stuff, like, you know, running a race or whatever. I think there's an art to that, a self expression that happens there. And so I think really obviously by that very broad definition, things like video games can easily count as art because somebody is expressing themselves. I I think in a lot of ways to play a video game, and we were talking about this for a long time with Blueprints, is trying in a real way to climb inside the mind of the developer and see things the way that they do in order to kind of like progress through the game. And
Hmm.
so you are forced into the kind of self-expression of the developer in a way. Like you learn a new mode of their self-expression becomes your self-expression, if that makes sense, in order to kind of facilitate beating the game or progressing through the level. And that was the experience, I think, of a lot of older games. You had to really think about like, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I get past this? I have to think about things not the way that I think about them, but the way that the game wants me to think about them. And so that
Right. Yeah.
it's like their self-expression is being kind of a barrier to your self-expression, and then you you align yourself with that. And so I think that's a fantastic way to learn to like kind of broaden your own perspective and the way that you see things, which is, I think, one of the utilities that art gives us as human beings. So somebody else's self-expression kind of interacts with ours and we would be like, oh, that's a different way of seeing that or doing that or thinking that. So that's kind of how I see art.
That's interesting because it puts this idea in my head that maybe video games are like the ultimate art.
Yeah, maybe. I think they have the potential to be.
Because of how much they are about, like, even if you're playing alone, like you said, you have to get into the heads of the developers and the designers.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a an empathy connection thing, which there are so many gamer bro dudes who would hate that idea, but
Right. Yeah.
and like I kind of hate saying that about them, uh because I don't think a lot of them know what empathy is.
Mm-hmm.
But there is kind of an empathy that you have to get into some of those types of games.
Yeah, a
The,
displacement of yourself in order to,
yeah,
yeah.
more so even I would say than looking at a classic piece of, like, a classic painting or watching a movie or a play.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Although obviously, like, interpretation plays into all those sorts of things, and I guess video games too. Like, when you put yourself into something like that, everybody gets something different out of it.
For sure. And I think that kind of empathy or displacement for those bros, they would they would characterize as getting good. You know what I mean? As like, well,
Right.
I did the work. That's the work. And I don't exactly think that that's what it is. I think it's leaning into the art. It's relaxing your ego into another ego and allowing it to transport you a little bit into somebody else's world.
this is a very interesting topic because like I'm pretty sure there has been research done that like if you read a lot, especially as a young person, that helps develop your empathy,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
right? But so I wonder why the same isn't true of video games.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know because yeah.
Or maybe the research just hasn't been done, but like if what everyone thinks is the largest group of people who play video games, the people that games are made for and marketed to, the gamer bros,
Right.
if that is true, that they are the largest group and not just a loud minority. I genuinely do not know the statistics on that or who has the like, statistics can change depending on who collects the data and where they're from and who they're collecting the data. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I suspect they're just the best customers. Like they're the ones who will pay for the $70 game the day it comes out.
Right. Yeah, true. I mean, I brought Dragon Age Veilguard the day it came out,
Sure.
like so did a lot of other queer and women people and
But you'd never pay $130 for Call of Duty so that you could play it 2 days before the guy who pays 70. You know what I mean?
I would never pay $2 for Call of Duty.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
yeah. But there's
I'm a
millions of
lost
guys
cause there.
who do. Yeah. So I think
There are women who play Call of Duty.
Yeah, you're right. I don't want to be exclusive in that way. I just mean that I think that's why they get more attention is because they're like, oh, I'm gonna, and they only play that one game. You know what I mean? Like that's all.
I guess. I specifically brought up Veilguard just because the Gamer Bros did their best to, to bury it, I guess. Or actually, they brought a lot of attention to it. But you know what I'm saying? They were very against it.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes it so difficult because I'm just going to complain about this for a second, even though it's very off topic. Because I have some legitimate criticisms about that game, but you just couldn't criticize it for a while because anybody who was criticizing it was an asshole.
Yeah, you're making an ally out of your enemy. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't want to. But man, that game had some problems. And I'm not blaming the developers. Obviously, they had corporate intervention that really messed with everything.
I think that's the real problem.
Yeah, that's the enemy.
I think,
but we can save the hopeful downfall of the AAA scene for a future topic.
Yeah, it depends on how that cookie crumbles. What I would want there to be something left. I wouldn't want it to be like what we talked about last time with the collapse of Atari, and then there's and no more games. Don't do that.
Well, the indie scene is thriving.
Yeah, exactly.
So. Yeah. I don't ever think it would be that. I worry about people losing their jobs, obviously.
Yeah, that would
suck. Designers and stuff, and I feel I understand having security is very important, and I would never judge anyone for taking a corporate job that I would never. I have a corporate job. It's just not in video games, so no judgment here. But I almost think that maybe they should force it and all of them should just, leave and form their own studios. And I get that takes money and privilege that not everyone has.
Yeah, and it's just really takes a long time to make a game now, too, it seems.
Yeah. But it would be nice if that could happen, is what I'm saying. That instead of EA slowly strangling everyone said, fuck EA and left.
Well, I do think this is related to my idea of art because I think there's this big blockage in the culture. Like I've said, that I've had a lot of pushback when I express this view of what art is to people. They're like, well, that's not art. That's, to me, art is what humans do. We just constantly are doing art. We are the animal that does art, if you ask me. But I think there's this whole thing with people. There's a fight that's really not a fight that I find absurd, where on one side you have these people who are snobby and are like, art is this precious, important thing that's over here. And then over there are commercial products which use art and cheapen it. And then there's people who are like fans and genre people, in the consumer area who are like, no, this counts as art. It's real art. And actually it's realer art than the hoity-toity, ultra sophisticated and exclusive thing that you're talking about as art. Like my science fiction book that I love so much is more real art than your impenetrable literary art that the ending doesn't make any sense and it's just all ambiguous, if that makes any sense. And that's like a fight that I think is just kind of silly because like it's art on both sides. It is a real problem in video games, like you're saying right now, because there's people who are like, well, this whole hobby is really a leverage point for me as a capitalist to enrich myself. There's all these people who will just buy whatever shooty shoot thing and I make millions of dollars. And then there's other people who are making indie games that are like making these profound artistic statements and they're these incredible acts of self-expression that would never be allowed under the capitalist to have self-expression because the capitalist can't understand how to leverage that into millions of dollars. You know what I mean? Like it just scares them. They're like, what, your point of view? Like how many people care about your point of view? That
Right.
like just make the thing that's soccer with guns. Like people love guns, they love soccer. Just make that. Don't express yourself. So
But the thing is, right now, I feel like the soccer with guns games are all flopping, and the indie I poured my soul into this are making millions of dollars.
right, because we've reached a tipping point, right? Like where
Yeah.
we've had so much of the guns or whatever, where the genres have like ossified to the point where they're tasteless to us. There's just nothing there. So now Expedition 33 comes out, right? From a tiny group. And it's like all it's Final Fantasy mechanics, it's Persona, it's Sekiro. But it doesn't matter because it's like telling this story in a way and this, amazing aesthetic and all of these ideas that are the expression of a woman who never would have been listened to by any other. Like if she went to Ubisoft and was like, here's a idea for a thing, they'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Like nobody, who cares about this? A mother grieving, a lying son who can't form relationships. Like what do you, no, nobody wants to play your sad shit. And it's like the most amazing thing I've ever played. Like I was like weeping through the whole thing,
Yeah.
and the mechanics are so fun and everything. So yeah, I think you're right that there's this in this particular moment, we're really seeing a swing away from a certain kind of ossified product
Yeah.
oriented type of video game.
It's happening in movies too, I feel like, because everyone I talk to who, like, I grew up going to the movies almost every weekend, especially during the summer, right?
Yeah.
Like, my movies were very big in my family. We watched a lot of movies, whether in the theater or at home. We rented movies a lot. We bought a lot of movies. Always huge in my family. I haven't been excited to see a movie in years.
Yeah.
Like I've gone to the movie theater and been like, yeah, that was okay. But I don't go very often anymore. I don't really make plans with my friends to go to the movies anymore, even though we used to do it all the time. But now movies are just like nothing is exciting. Nothing feels not even new. Like I kind of understand that sequels and remakes make money. Like I get it. But they're not even trying to do something different with them.
Yeah, it's
They
adaptations
just look like
of adaptations
bad
of sequels of
knockoffs.
adaptations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they don't do more things like Dune, like take an already popular book and make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that way you have an audience. Like I understand wanting to hedge your bets when you're putting so much money into a film. It's cowardly, but I understand it. So there are so many popular books out there. A lot of them, the rights to make them have already been bought by movie or TV studios, but just nobody's doing it. You're just holding on to the rights just in case.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
No, I agree. I agree. And I think it's because, yeah, it's what we're talking about. There's this clash between people who are like, oh, I think I agree with it. This has something to say, or it's something important, or it's something interesting to think about. And then there's somebody else on the other end of that holding all the cards going like, I don't care, but will it make me money? Will it increase the stock value? Will it meet the
Yeah.
quarterly requirements? And I get like they're just trying to do the thing. They're in business. Like I get that. But it's dumb. I
It's
just
just going to lead to collapse.
Yep.
Like event of the
You're really
system
cutting off
eventually.
your feet. Yeah. And being
Yeah.
like, why can't I stand up? It just doesn't
Okay.
make any sense.
A segue to sort of bring the movies and the video game thing together. Apparently A24 is making an Elden Ring film.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah.
And I don't want to play Elden Ring, but
Uh-huh.
I do want to see this movie.
I don't think you would
like an
need one for the other. I think it would be
But
fun.
I would feel like I needed to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would want to get it.
I think Elden Ring
you
is
know?
great. Like I really love Elden Ring. I've played like hundreds and hundreds of hours of Elden Ring, so I think it's a great game.
Is there a good story? And not just like finding bits of lore around, but are you playing like a character? Is there character development?
It's
what even happens in this game?
It's very
Nobody talks about it.
So like okay, so we talk about like Final Fantasy, right? In the first Final Fantasy game, it's very much kind of like Dragon Age Origins character. Like it's like your character has no real past, so to speak. Like I mean, your past might come up a little bit, but it really doesn't fucking matter.
I feel like Origins was the worst one to choose because I feel like Origins does the best at making the main character feel like a real person.
Yeah, I was just trying to think
of
when you would have played that where your past, maybe Shepard and Mass Effect, because you. Like,
I know what you mean.
Your past is there a little bit, but it really doesn't fucking matter, right?
Yeah.
In Final Fantasy 1, you just create. You have an option of like 6 different classes, and you have to pick 4 for your party. And they don't matter in terms of character. They are nameless from nowhere. You never like, oh, it's my parents. Like that never happens. You just popped out of nowhere into this world where relationships exist between characters, and you are a prophesied, foretold hero group, right? And Elden Ring is very much that kind of a thing. It's just like The Legend of Zelda, like your Link. Where's your parents? They don't exist. You know what I mean? Like you don't, you never say anything because it's just a map for you to populate with your personality. The thing about Elden Ring though, is that the entire game on a kind of meta level is about that. It's about like all of the characters are like, there's some kind of alien outside force that is controlling us, that is like manipulating our bodies literally, and it's called it's like this outer god thing, and it's represented in the world as this thing called the 2 fingers. Well, what are you doing? You like have a controller in your hand with your 2 thumbs manipulating the character. So like it's about that. It's about being manipulated by an outer god and trying to get out from, like, some people are like, that's good and we should do that. We should, like, God should control us. And other people are like, we got to get out from under the control of the gods. And you can pick which way you want the world to go. Should it be, you know, ruled by God, or should we throw the whole thing out and kill God and have no gods in the future? So,
well, you know, we need to buy more games for our Switch too, because we bought a Switch too.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, I'm
maybe
confused how that will run on a Switch. I'm curious to see if it runs okay.
So maybe I'll do that. I don't know. I wonder if my sister already owns it somewhere.
the secret way to get games. It's very hard.
An older sister.
I'll say that. The game is
I don't mind a
difficult.
hard game.
Yeah.
I don't mind a hard game as long as I have a motivation to get through the difficultness. And usually for me, that's I want the story.
Yeah. There are lots of characters in the world, lots of complicated crossing up relationships between those characters, and you can tweak the outcomes of them. And you can, pick factions and make choices, but your character is not a character, so to speak, if that makes sense.
Okay. No, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine then. Maybe I'll give it a go because I want to play it before the movie.
I think it's the most accessible of their games that they've made.
That's FromSoft, right?
Yeah, FromSoft. Yeah, there's also like a Mass Effect TV show that's being made, and
I
think live with real people.
If it will okay, no matter what, I'm gonna try it, obviously, no matter what I say. But my expectations are in the gutter.
Me too. It's very low.
Especially, like, I can't see any world in which if it's about Shepard, which I think would be the wrong choice to make and not just do something completely different in the world. But if it is about Shepard and Shepard is male.
Yeah.
Like, that's the wrong choice. I'm sorry. I cannot. I can't be unbiased about female Shepard is the correct choice.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because I like playing as women in video games, and I like having the option the way some games give you these days. The actor for male Shepard was just bad.
Oh, I mean, you could fix that, but yeah.
I know you can fix it, but it just makes me think that male Shepard is wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have heard his clips, and he sounds like he's giving every single line as though he doesn't believe what he's saying. As though he's not committed to the part, as though he's like, this is a joke, right?
Yeah.
Every single line. And I'm like, what are you doing?
I think I tried a male run initially when I got the game, and I was like, wow. And I just started it over before I even left the Citadel. And I was like, oh, this is much better. Yeah. So I've never had male Shep.
Well, me neither, obviously. Yeah. I've just watched some clips on YouTube because it's so bad. It's so bad.
It's pretty bad.
Anyways, I will be very upset if it's a male Shepard, but I don't see any world in which they wouldn't do a male Shepard. Again, I think doing Shepard as the main character is wrong. They should just do completely new characters in the same world. And maybe even tell, like, the same story, but just do completely new characters, because then you sidestep anybody having these expectations.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about it. I think one time I heard that it might be the story of like Saren and I can't think of the guy's name. The guy who is almost a Spectre, a human Spectre, who's like your commander in the first game.
Right.
And like their whole story. So like in the past before.
Yeah. Okay. That'd be fine.
Yeah.
That'd be fine.
But to me, that's like, okay, but that's not like what Mass Effect is. There's like these like elder gods out there, like that's the weird thing about Mass Effect. It's not like, because then you're just talking about like, oh, it's like
a sci-fi mystery, probably.
Yeah. It's just like Star Trek, but more actiony. But whatever.
Yeah.
I'll watch it. Like you said, it's not like I'm not going to watch it. But
yeah, again, I remember somebody asking me about how I was feeling about Witcher 4. And I was like, look, it doesn't matter. I'm going to play it the day it comes out.
Right.
Do I trust CD Projekt Red to write a female main character? No. Do I think it's going to be a good game? Big maybe. Am I going to buy it on release day? Yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, they have us captured. I guess this is the backhanded downside to the hobby that we talk about, like the difference between art and a commercial product, that we're just in for the commercial product at this point, just to see if there's nuggets of art that we love.
I'm going to be so upset if Ciri can't sleep around the way that Geralt could.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just going to be... I don't even know that I would have her sleep around, but if the option's not there, I'm going to be like, oh, so you're just double standard pieces of shit.
I would be more
Gotcha.
worried that you can sleep around, but it's only with other ladies, that.
I mean, I understand that that would still be bad, like, because that would be very misogynistic of them because they're just doing it for the sexy times,
Right.
but also I would love that.
It would
You
be
know?
better than the alternative. Yeah. But I would just want it to be anybody, I guess. That's what I always want is anybody, and then let me craft a story.
And also, if Geralt has like cameos and stuff, they better let me have my ending that I chose for him
Oh, and 3.
in 3 because
Yeah.
I hate that black-haired woman that
Yennefer.
he like is canonic Yennefer
Yeah.
that he's like canonically within the books. I fucking hate her. And I'm like Triss is 1,000,000 times better. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so this whole thing kind of gets into the other end of what is interesting to me about art in video games, and kind of what you said, that it can maybe be the ultimate art form, because the way that I play, especially the Dragon Age games, for example, is I don't treat it as, I think a lot of people place their ego in there as the main character, because when you hear people talk about it a lot of times, and I know that this can just be shorthand, but they'll say like, I chose to romance this person, I chose this, I chose that, as if there's no difference between the character and you, the player, right? You personally
Right.
as a person. And they will be appalled. You'll be like, well, I chose to like enslave so and so. And they're like, how could slavery is wrong, Alan? How could you? And I was like, I did not, I did not enslave anyone. The character did that because it's part, in my mind, of their narrative arc along this story that I am crafting as a co-author to the game makers. In other words, like, I am able to express myself through their self-expression. Like, we're co-creating a
Yeah.
story that, when I think back on my Dragon Age 2 experience, it's this tragic story about an optimistic person who this, tragedy befalls them, and they inherit a noble house, and they fall on hard times and become more and more cynical over time, until they get to the point where, are they delivering the city? Yes, but at what cost to their soul, right?
Right.
And so that's the story that I crafted for that character, but I could have crafted a completely different story, because all the tools are in place for me to do that and have a completely different arc, where I started out the character as cynical and ended them as a very like hopeful kind of paladin-esque type of, like, I'm doing the right thing for right's sake, because I, no matter what we do, there'll be suffering in the world, but at least I can meet it with integrity. And I think you could tell that character story in that setting. I just, chose not to when I did it. But
I do think that that is like how the developers intend you to play those games. You know what I mean? To like create a character and be that character. But sometimes it is hard. Like I go into games thinking that sometimes. Oh, like when I started the Warhammer game I was playing, I was like, I'm gonna be 100% for the Emperor.
I'm
I'm
down
not
for
gonna care.
imperialism. Right.
I'm down for it. And then I got in and I was like, man, I don't like these options. I couldn't even pretend to be into the. I did. It helped that I watched some 40K lore videos and found out that the Emperor actually hates what's happened to him and did not want that.
Yeah,
So I
there's
was
like a
like,
tragic twist to that. Yeah.
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 So I was like, you know what? I feel good about not being imperialistic and actually trying my best to be a good person in this shitty world. That's cool. Great. I love being a good person in video games.
I think a lot of people, I've seen statistics over the years of that. How do people play kind of stuff? And I think most people do like play a good version when you can. But I do think that that's like an act of self-expression. I don't think that people are framing it the way that I'm talking about, where they're like, I am making the story or I am doing art as I'm playing the game. They're just like, I'm playing the game. I'm a fan. I'm, like part of a community that is
Mm-hmm.
into this commercial product experience. But to me, like, we just do art all the time. And this is just another way to do art. I think what's really, really cool about video games is that they can facilitate you doing art in a way that like reading a book or watching a movie just never will be able to do.
Yeah. I 100% think there's a pretty, I don't know about big, I don't know how large the community is, but like a robust part of the Dragon Age fandom, and probably Baldur's Gate 3 and other games of that ilk. We're just talking about Dragon Age because those are the games we play
Yeah,
like this.
yeah, it's a bridge that we've both been
Yeah.
on. Yeah.
Who 100% use the games as like a way to create original characters and tell a story about that character.
Yeah.
And that they have, have written like adjacent fan fiction about their character in order to get them to understand who they've created better and to know things about them, and use these types of games as storytelling boats. That's not the metaphor I'm looking for.
No, I get what you
Vehicles of some kind, you
it's
know what
yeah,
I
you're
mean?
like jumping off from that point and you
Yeah.
might even like spin out like a whole okay, I'm just going to change everything and make my own book based on like this idea of a character who
Yeah. Yeah,
started as
exactly.
this other thing. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it facilitates that in a way that I think the only other thing that's even close is like obviously like if you are, you know, not watching the movie, but like an actor in a play or a movie like that, obviously, is the same kind of dance as what we're talking about in a video game. Or I think sports is the same kind of thing where you exist in this framework. And then the really exciting thing about watching sports is when somebody does something that's like, just incredible virtuosity where the rules say that you can do this, but what human being could possibly throw the ball from here to there? And then, oh my God, they
Right.
did it. And you can watch somebody playing a video game sometimes and just be like, holy shit. Like they parry,
Yeah.
parry, parry, and boom, they did the thing. And it was like, wow, I thought that was impossible.
I really like this comparison that you've made between sports and video games, because as much as sports are not my thing, it is strange that we have this weird societal disconnect between fans of sports being cool and fans of other things being not cool.
They seem like the most compatible thing. Like, I don't understand why.
I don't
I mean,
understand
there's
either.
obviously
Like,
sports games, but it's like they are almost the same thing. They should be fans of each other, if nothing else, and be like, oh,
yeah,
you're into hockey.
sports
That's
fans
cool.
are the biggest nerds,
Exactly. Yeah. They know all the
right?
statistics and all the
Yeah,
history. Yeah. The way that we talk about like, oh, that's a FromSoft game. That's EA, blah, blah, blah. They know all the managers' names, like that fucking matters to their team or whatever. But it does if you're like deep in the hobby, right? Like it's the same kind of thing.
yeah. And we're not. Other people have talked about this point. We're not. We didn't just make a huge discovery
Yeah.
here, but
Yeah.
it's just interesting.
Yeah. My vote is that video games are art, and I think art is more complex and deeper. And it's also the kind of thing I see a lot of people freaking out, and obviously it's bad. The AI stuff around art, both in like terms of writing and videos and photography and drawing and all of that stuff is being co-opted. But really what it is it's turning, we've had like decades and decades of here's commercial products that we have been told over and over this is what art is, and now it's like, well, nobody can be an artist. Like people will not stop being artists. It will never ever stop because that's what we do. It just really sucks that maybe we're not going to be able to make money and have careers as that. But I think that it's also what's going to happen is what you were talking about earlier with games and movies, that all this stuff can do is repeat itself and people
Yeah.
will get sick of it. And the only way to get anything new or to iterate on it in a meaningful way is going to be people expressing themselves, and people will always be hungry for that. They'll always be hungry for someone else's point of view and expression and the difference between you and I kind of thing that art brings to it. And so I'm not too worried about the future and like, will art exist? It just might not, it might be less commercial, which is probably the best thing that it could be anyway. So,
I mean, I do feel bad for designers and developers
yeah,
who want to make a career.
yeah,
You know, like, unfortunately, as much as we hate it, we do live in a capitalist society
yep,
and people need to make money. So it sucks that we can't have, like, the collapse of the AAA studio alongside the collapse of capitalism.
yeah,
I guess is what I'm saying. Like, bring them both down,
right.
please. But yeah, no, support indies, I guess, is what you gotta do. I know that there's a lot of... The thing about indies, though, is because you can do anything, there's a lot of things out there that are weird, I guess I'm going to say, and don't appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah, they're
you know
outside
what I mean?
genre. It's just hard to fathom what it is, and you really have to get in the headspace of the other person,
Yeah,
and that's just a huge leap. It's like, do I have the time or energy for that? And that's
and
it's hard.
sometimes I wish more indie games, I wish more games in general had free demos. Because it would be easier to find your audience. And I would give a demo a try a lot more than I'd give a $20 game a try.
Yep.
You know, and there's a lot of games out there that look like not my thing, but if I tried a demo, maybe they would be. That's tough.
Yeah, and that's a whole different, like, it's
That's a
you
different
just be
thing,
like,
but yeah.
we'll just make a demo, but it's not that it's not necessarily that easy. It's like a whole
I
other goal.
have no idea.
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've never coded a thing in my life.
Yeah.
That's technically not true. I had an HTML website when I was in grade 9.
You're right. When everybody else,
I have coded.
GeoCities and stuff. Yeah.
It was 100% GeoCities. It was probably just a collection of anime pictures.
Yep.
Wowza. Anyways,
Well, good. We solved it. We fixed that everybody will understand what art is now and video games, and the downfall of capitalism and AAA games is imminent. Like, we did it.
I mean, I think with our wandering, what's the word, tangents and everything, it's clear that we just like talking about video games.
Yeah.
And this was just an excuse. I mean, the whole podcast is just an excuse. One thing I guess we should explore also, though, just because it's come up a lot right now, because a lot, like itch.io is basically, you can't buy games there anymore because of censorship
really?
problems. Well, it's complicated. Basically, like PayPal and MasterCard
Oh, I've heard
God,
about
I
this.
haven't-
Yeah.
are like, no, we're not going to process payments on this site anymore because there's bad adult content.
Right. Like, you can
And-
play a sexy game, right? Yeah.
Not just sexy, but there's like rape games and
Sure. Yeah.
there's bad shit on there, right? Because indie is less, like, anybody can make a game and just upload it. That's the whole point of itch.io. And it's important that anybody can make a game and upload it, right?
Yeah.
But it just also means you get bad people.
Well, and it's also, I don't know, like, self-expression. This is part of the thing. Like, I don't want to say like a person is bad, whatever, but there are dark corners to the human experience. And some people want to explore those things in one way or another, whether it is to, celebrate them, which I think is always kind of boring. It's like titillating and then boring, or people who are just like, I've been through a shitty thing and I'm not through it yet and I don't understand it. And so I made a piece of art about it. And those things can be compelling and dark and, but also like depressing and weird. And so I have a lot of room for that kind of stuff, but I can understand how there's always been this anxiety, right, in our society around video games, and that somehow they have a deeper access to your personality. And I think this part of this is because there's a whole part of the population that's alienated from them and doesn't understand them. And so it's easier to be afraid of video games, right? And be like, well, if you play a game
100%.
where you, the player, can rape someone, then all this is doing is like teaching you to do a heinous crime. But maybe not, because like it's an experience that people have had, and you know, to explore dark experiences, I think is also a form of art. So it's just unfortunate that the whole community is being persecuted because some edgy stuff is out there or some bad titillating stuff is out there.
Right. But, and like, even if the designer literally was just like, I'm a shithead and I want to make a game for shitheads.
Sure. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that's, you know, as long as nobody was actually hurt in the making of it, they're allowed to do that,
Yep.
you know?
Free speech, man. Yeah.
It sucks, but it is what it is. And I, and this weird censorship culture that has really reared its head in the past couple of years, especially here in North America. They start by saying, "Look, this website sells games like this. It is bad, but also it has all of this queer stuff," and they are going to point at that and say, "That's bad. That's
Right. Yeah.
you know, like that. That's what they really want."
Yep. Yeah. They're not, they're not actually anti-rape. They're,
Yeah.
yeah, anti-freedom.
And it sucks that those two things are correlated in any way, because,
Yep.
but it's not like, look at the people who are correlating them, right? Like, it's not us who are doing it.
Yeah.
Us being, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
God, I
because
hate
there is a
articulating these
self-policing.
subjects.
Yeah, I think within the hobby, there's a self-policing. Like, oh, come on, like we're not gonna do that. How much is that rape simulator really getting? You know,
And
from
like,
the
is it any
community?
different than GTA? Really?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
I almost said Call of Duty, and I was like, no, the other one.
That's just murder.
Yeah. And that's the thing, you know, like, a lot of the times, like, putting aside the sexual assault games, you know, they want to ban anything that has consensual sex in it, too. And it's always baffled me how much people are against sex of any kind, but 100% cool with violence.
Oh yeah,
Like,
violence
what?
makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, sex is scary.
But heaven forbid people like each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a whole other thing. I think yeah.
Anyways, you know that YouTuber you linked me to a while ago, a woman,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
think
She's like
she's
an Australian.
Australian.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She had a really good video about this, and she was much more articulate than I was and got the point across about how we can condemn something while still understanding that as long as it has broken no laws and hurt no one, it is not illegal.
Yeah. I guess I also have faith in people. Like I said, like
See, I
does
don't.
does the gamer community actually even reward this type of bullshit? I guess to go back to a sports analogy, I can remember 25 years ago or whatever. I'm not a football fan, American football fan at all, really, but there was this thing where, you know, all these rules were coming out for football because the players have a terrible end of life experience because of how crushing the game is to their bodies.
Right.
And so they were changing the rules to make the hits hit less hard and to protect the head of the players more and all this kind of stuff. And the viewers felt that like, oh, this is like making it's all wussified now. It's like this, the game sucks to watch. It's not as fun. And so as a reaction, there's this other thing came out called the XFL that was like extreme football, where the hits are huge and the players get hurt, and maybe we'll even let them fight every once in a while, like a fist fight, like hockey or, you know, something like that. And it didn't last long. It lasted like 2 years because it was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then it gets boring because that's not what's exciting about sports. It's what I said, that there's this set of rules and then somebody does something extraordinary. It's not the titillating thing off to the side. So I just don't think that people actually really respond to this stuff in the way that politicians like to make you afraid that people do. You know what I mean?
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I do agree with that. politicians like to use that fear to control people.
Yeah, and it's just bullshit. Like people will be interested in it. They'll be curious about it because we're curious about. We fucking ate every mushroom in the forest, right? We licked rocks and we're like, we discovered salt. People are curious, but we don't stick around. We don't just keep licking the same rock when we're like, that's a rock. Like we move on. So like we're like, oh yeah, a rape simulator. That's kind of boring.
I hope so.
I have faith. I think we're on the side of people getting paid for their work, and that it sucks. Yeah, that MasterCard is a bunch of cowards, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're out. Forget it.
Yeah, agreed. All right, so I guess this is where we're ending this episode. Kind of a weird place, but all right. One thing that I did want to mention about, just because I hope people will want to weigh in on this conversation, we do record our episodes in advance. So if we don't like respond to emails or
you'd hear it on the show right away.
I was going to say tweets, but Blue Sky posts, whatever. I don't know. I think there's some movement to call them skeets, but that
I don't like that.
Upsets me on a visceral level.
Yeah, I'm not okay with that.
So if we don't respond to them on the show, or if it takes us a couple weeks, we're not ignoring you. We've just moved on.
Yeah. We just exist in the future.
Yeah. But having said that, you can follow the show on Blue Sky at Inferior Gaming, or follow me personally on Blue Sky and see all my annoying tweets.
Threats that you'll die if you don't finish this.
Yep. You can follow me at Inferior Caitlin.
Yeah, you can send emails to us at inferiorgamingpod@gmail.com. Or you can fill out the contact form at holograndmedia.com. Just scroll down to the bottom of the page, or check out our other podcasts there, I guess.
And remember, twirling a fork can be art.
That's right. It is. No one else thinks that.